These are like some comfortable headphones, by the way. Are these new?
Yeah, those are Patreon.
Are they?
Yeah, those are Patreons.
Okay.
They're not.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, start reading whenever you want.
Can I do an accent?
I don't care. I don't care what you do.
She used to be an actress.
Did she ever do anything I saw?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in the pilot.
What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you're aware there's an invention called television, and that own that invention, they show shows.
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick those shows on TV is they make one show, and that's called a pilot. They show that show to people who pick the shows, and on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make some more shows. Some get accepted and become TV programs. Some don't. Become nothing. She started in one of them that became nothing.
Is that President of the United States? Thank you.
It's perfectly timed, too.
Oh, for sure.
Everything I did there was perfectly timed. That's me. Welcome to Couch Pilots. All of you are my friends. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and with me is the one who bears all. It's Captain Philip Russ.
I do say too much. I do.
Some
and
people
I've done it since the beginning of
time.
This goes back to IBWIP before you were ever around. Mm-hmm. The infamous episode nobody should ever listen to.
Right.
That I was so anxious because Bubba the Love Sponge had a new segment where he was going to review podcasts, and I was so eager, and I sent that email and didn't hear from him, forgot all about it, and then the most depressing podcast I have ever put out, the like practically suicidal episode, and that was the one they picked, and I was on Bubba the Love Sponge to get IBWIP was going to finally get some traction. And they just told me I should have just killed myself.
Oh, mercy. But you didn't.
No.
For better or worse.
For worse or for better.
Was it an episode of IBWIP that you had recorded
by
yourself? It's not a...
Yeah. That was...
This is poor planning. And your life should never hinge on whether a guy named Love Sponge likes what you're doing.
It had nothing to do with that. The episode that I did was a very emotional, very heart-wrenching one.
But
then it just so happened that's after that is when they picked it, and that's the one they picked. I was like, that was true old school IBWIP fans know that episode. They're like, ooh, yeah, don't get enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, whoa.
But hey, that was then.
But you do have a history of bearing all. Sometimes, like, don't fuck with me. I know you get in your pool naked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I
know
do.
you
My wife won't do it, but I do.
Well, the thing is, you have a fence that goes up about 7.5 feet, and then there's a 2-story apartment building, like, looking right at your house.
Well, I do it at night. I don't do it during the day.
Okay, I was going to say, everyone can see your butthole,
I'll tell you what, I completely understand what these people are talking about. Swimming around in your pool, buck-ass naked. Mm-hmm. Well, I have done it in the middle of the day. I was by myself and I was drunk. But no, it makes it a completely different experience. It's great.
It is very freeing and appropriate for today's program. But before we get into that, maybe we should bring on our guest. You want to do it?
No, this is.
I don't want to do it either.
No, we're just not going to continue the show. This is your honorary guest.
I used to do. I still do Karaoke Big E. Now I do as a co-host, but I used to do it as a guest sometime. And I used to tell Kevin, I want to come on sometime, and I don't ever want you to introduce me. I'm just going to sit there the whole time. I don't want you put my name in the show notes, do whatever you want, but I don't want to be introduced the whole time.
But you're still talking stuff, just not be introduced.
This guest had to come like 45 minutes, so we better introduce them. Let's see. Oh, I only do this intro for Matt, but it makes sense here.
For sure.
We'll use it for this guest. by way of Bloomington, Illinois, the creator and founder of the Bloomington and Normal video game convention is my brother. His name is Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
What do you think about that intro?
That was good music. That really fit the bill.
It sounds like a robot.
That's 8-bit.
Right.
That's 8-bit. That's Finn Balor as it's the Finn Balor intro.
No one knows what that is.
Okay.
I met a guy last year, and this was like during the pandemic, so I think he was really looking to talk to people. And he only takes 8-bit music and remixes it, and that's what he does. And when I told him to run the con, he literally talked about it for about 45 minutes, just nonstop. It was cool for like 6 minutes.
Sure.
He takes like regular music and makes 8-bit versions of them, is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't even know. I stopped listening after like 6 minutes. But I think he takes songs that exist and then remixes them, which is a great idea.
But only talk about it for 8 minutes.
That's
at the most.
that's the max.
Yeah.
We have a brother, the two of us who are brothers. We have another brother, and he was at my house last night, and so was Ryan. And my brother Kevin, he played a Legend of Zelda Lost Wood themes, like dubstep remix. It was kind of cool.
Zelda music's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, Ryan's here. We haven't had him on for a while. When was the last time you were on the program?
It's probably some kind of nerdy comic book
You were watching
thing.
fucking mouth. You were watching
Yeah, I
mouth
think-
around my brother.
I think you called me after last year's con, didn't you?
I know we've called you, but was the last time you came on that it wasn't the Pride of the X-Men, was it?
Yes.
That's been a while.
That was a good episode.
That's been,
Well, it was
been
a good-
probably like 2 years
good pilot.
or easy, right?
not a good episode of Couch Pots, but that damn pilot was good.
I will say the episode of Couch Pilots was good. Ryan can't say because he's never heard one in his life, which is
Sure.
fine. But thank you for coming back on. And there is a reason, because today, as it stands, is April the 12th. Mm-hmm. That's when this is being released. It's not that day now.
I was just going with it.
I'm not going to tell you what day it is right now, though, listener. It's secret.
It's the day before my COVID shot.
But we're because 5 days from this release date, there'll be a video game convention.
That is correct.
It's something that you founded 4 years ago.
All by mistake. Yes.
By mistake.
That's correct. I had no intentions of starting a convention when it started. Should I tell you the
Please.
story? All right.
Yeah. He's opening the door for you.
Only for 8 minutes. No.
So I had a little shop for a long time. Jason had a cool shop as well. We were doing pretty good with the video games, so I started investing in them pretty heavily. Ended up with a ton of games and consoles. When I decided to close my doors, that's like 90% of what I had. And I thought, man, I got to have like a sale. I know a couple other guys with lots of video games too. I got to get these guys together. I got like 3 guys. We rented a tiny room. I put something on Facebook about it. And I think my mistake was calling it a convention, because the first thing that happened was I got like hundreds and hundreds of people that were interested in it within a week. And I'm like, I don't think this venue I rented could fit more than like 8 people as well. So I'm going to have to get a bigger one. So I went and got a bigger one. I got more artists, more vendors, more... I got a guy that was developing his own games, set up all the consoles that I own from the shop, and just like had a gathering, and like 470 fucking people showed up. It was nuts. And that was like minimal advertising. So they wanted it.
Sure. That was 4 years ago.
Yes.
And now you're the El Chapo of video game conventions.
That's right. They call me the con man. Nobody calls me that.
Well, you can start it. You need to put it on your business card.
There's a guy that has a really cool name up in Kankakee. He goes by Jay the Collector. And I'm like, that's a good name.
Yeah,
That's
because you don't know if it's bones or bodies or video games. I like that.
I just want a nickname. It sounds cool.
What would be your nickname?
Huh?
I heard a few people called you Third Leg. But what is your nickname?
Massively depressed.
Massively Depressed. Mine's DJ Snake.
So, you took us back to the beginning where it was by accident. Then the next year...
Next year grew to 740 guests.
Same location. It was in like the conference area of, was it a Ramada?
It is now. It was... Oh, shit, I can't keep it straight. Yeah, no, it was at the time. Now it's a...
But it was at a
thing.
Ramada on
Yeah.
the north side of Normal.
Okay.
So you took this space 2 years in a row. They had a food truck, which I thought was cool. I love
That's a
food
good idea.
trucks.
Always a good idea. And so...
It got even bigger that year. More people came.
Almost
I went
doubled.
from 9 to 32 vendors in 1 year. Actually,
Wow.
10 months.
And then you had a special guest that year too, the second year.
Daniel Pacina. If you don't know the name, he's awesome. And also from Chicago, so it wasn't too far of a drive.
Well, what's he known for, though?
Mortal combat.
Yeah, he did a lot of the. He was the guy that they say get in this black spandex and we're gonna glue tennis balls to you. And then he did the. Did he do the voice?
No voice.
Oh,
No, he
no.
was the actual character. Johnny Cage was developed after him. So
Okay.
what he wore to like do the motion acting, they just like made a new character out of what he was wearing. But he also did all the motion acting for Scorpion.
I would assume Sub-Zero, since
Sub-Zero,
it's essentially
yeah,
the same
yeah.
character.
And then a
right?
bunch of extra guys. I don't know. I can't remember.
How awesome would that to be like a motion actor? Like you never have to worry about like going in public and getting recognized unless you tell somebody.
Hey Ryan, Blake's got so many emotions. He should be a motion actor.
Boom.
So year 2 it grows.
Cry baby.
Year 3 we go to what?
So year 3, year 2 was so shoulder to shoulder. We were just no room. Too many vendors, too many people. So I worked with the city last year to go to the Coliseum, big old Coliseum. You got the rink on the main floor.
In
where
Rome.
Yeah, we're going all the way to Rome for this one. Is that the biggest venue in Bloomington Normal, or is somewhere at the Illinois State University have a bigger venue? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Bone Center's big, and then the one I have this year is also big. I think it's square footage wise, maybe bigger as far as usable space. Because they don't have like 5,000 seats taking up most of the area.
But the Grossinger Auditorium, is that what Grossinger Sports Arena? Is that what it's called?
I don't know anymore.
It is very large.
Is that where we saw the hockey game?
It is, yeah.
Okay. We saw Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
We met Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hats off to Jim Duggan.
Hats off to him.
All right. So what does that look like in regards to vendors and attendance?
So we went from 32 in year 2 to 43 vendors, which was great. Attendance popped up to 870. So again, growth, which is awesome. We did a big esports tournament with tons of teams. Had 120 computers on the floor, all run at the same time. We went up to like a terabyte of like internet usage at one point, which is, I don't know anything about computers, but I'm told an obscene amount.
Sure.
So, and that's the only venue in Bloomington
that could handle
period
that.
that could handle that.
So it's like the arena where the hockey was being played. That's where the esports tournament happened. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if this is a proper term or not. But like the hallway or the concourse around the top.
I call it concourse.
Yeah.
That's where all the vendors were set up.
Okay.
It was a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to use that space.
Oh, totally. In the end, it was tough to work with the city. It was tough to work with the
Coliseum.
esports or
Coliseum,
okay.
yeah. And esports was fine. I don't care about it. I'm much more into the vintage stuff and having fun with collecting and sales and artists. More about the community. I feel like esports
Rather than
is
the competition or the.
I'm not a competitive guy. Yeah. So anyway, it went well. But I decided to kind of go back on my own this year. So I'm doing it at the Interstate Center, which is bigger square footage wise, an awesome spot. It's better and free parking. I hated that people had to pay for parking at the Coliseum last year.
okay.
$10 for parking just sucks.
Wow,
I mean, that's
yeah.
money that's not getting
Spent on a video game or
something.
a poster or
His
comic
vendors,
book.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And food. Oh my God, pizza was like $6 a slice for like Papa John's pizza.
Oh, yeah.
So
Concession prices are no good. So this year, it's in a like third Sunday is like these big like thrift markets, flea markets. This thing they have every third Sunday. I think it's not all year. Is it all year, or is it just during the warmer months?
It's like 8 months.
Okay, and so they have it here, and I think maybe even some of the other adjoining buildings.
Yep, and all outside too.
And so he's doing that whole space. There's some really cool stuff happening this year too.
So what's going on this year? What's different?
Well, we are super proud to announce our partnership with Galloping Ghost Arcade out of Chicagoland area. Is it Bolingbrook? Is that
Up in the Brookfield area?
Brookfield, yeah. Man, they're a cool arcade. I think you might have talked about it once before when we went up there, right?
I probably did. And I will say that I believe it to be the largest arcade maybe in the world. Where are you going to go? Take a dump? Okay. Can you take a dump for me?
Take
that beer,
their
brother.
website says USA, but the more research I was doing on them says in the world, so it's up in the air. I don't know what they are.
It's like
big. That's all that
vintage
matters.
arcades from like the 70s until like probably the early aughts. And it's almost 900 games, which is insane. And
800 plus is what they're claiming. You're totally right.
I thought the number was like 860 something, 870 something.
I went to in Las Vegas. The Pinball Hall of Fame and Museum is there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I couldn't fathom what I saw there. and I'm sure it wasn't 800. I mean, obviously they're bigger, but still, I mean, seeing 800 video games, arcade games, I guess I'd say, that's insane.
I actually met a guy last year who's opening a arcade in Las Vegas, close to there, because he has 1,000 machines that he's been working on fixing the last 10 years, and he is going to open I don't know if it's like a competition place, but kind of like an adjacent gamer
Haven.
Haven, that's the word.
Yeah.
That's it. That's pretty
awesome.
cool. The guy's a little
Flaky.
I don't know. I don't know what to find. He's all right.
I've been to.
Good idea though.
He's been diddling arcade games for 10 years.
What do you expect?
What kind of mental state would he be in? What would
right.
if you said, "Hey, draw me a guy or describe a guy who has spent the last 10 years diddling and wiring up arcade games," I know exactly what I would see. And that's probably that guy.
My expectations are too high.
You have pen and paper right there. Can you spend the rest of the program drawing what you think that guy would look like?
You want me to?
I've been.
He's
to,
got a mustache that's not full.
There's a place in PR called
Yeah.
Round One, and that's
He's
got
got
a
it.
bunch of like prize redemption games, and it's got bowling and stuff. And then I've been to GameWorks up in Schaumburg. It's in the shops at the Woodfield Mall. So all the businesses and all those strip malls around the Woodfield Mall. There's a big place there called GameWorks. These deal in like $5 at a time
Sure.
games. These big extravagant games.
Sure.
All the newest games come in there. What's cool about the Galloping Ghost is you feel like you are back in time because there's no pomp and very little circumstance in this place. Low ceilings. It's dingy. It's not particularly clean. It's not flashy. It's just rows and rows of every game you've ever wanted to play and have played from a child.
Yeah, because you don't need atmosphere when you have your focus.
the games are the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need to have it look flashy.
And when you have that many arcades around, like when you go to like a bar, like a barcade, and there's just like it's busy
There's
and
12. There's 12 games. 3 of them don't work.
and they're all full, or you're elbow to elbow with guys that you don't want to be touching.
Yeah, Sure. yeah.
This place, like you literally have a road to yourself. It's like they just kept knocking down walls and building into that area every time a store next to them went out of building. The entire
We'll take
building
it.
is
We'll take
all
that
of it.
space. We'll take it. We'll
Yeah.
take it.
That's what
Hey,
happened.
$20, you can play there all day.
Wow.
As many games as you want.
That's great.
Yeah.
You could go through that many quarters in like an hour
Yeah, for sure.
So the partnership with them is going to be 20 arcade games
or more.
What's that?
Or more. They're going to see
Oh,
what they can fit on the
really?
trailer.
And they're going to bring them down to the convention. 20 games.
That's awesome.
And then some of them are going to be in relation to this year's.
Special guest. Yep. So real quick, I do have to say last year's special guest was Billy Mitchell, which is a very notorious character. Many people recognize him from The King of Kong. He is an expensive person to get there, so luckily I used my city funds with my relationship last year to use taxpayer dollars to get him
Nice.
to get him there.
The King of Kong is a pretty popular and well-known video game documentary that came out about, I'd say, 10, 15 years ago at this point. But Billy Mitchell remains kind of this towering figure in the world of vintage arcade record holders.
And not always in the good way.
Yeah, so he's often villainized.
Ooh, nice.
In the movie, he is totally the villain, and he plays it up well.
Yeah. If that was the only like broad exposure that I had to an audience that's beyond just the video game people, lean into it. Why
Sure.
not? What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
You got to constantly fight that image, or you lean into it and you make a few bucks like Billy is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he definitely solidified his place in time. But he was a blast. I've actually kept up with him a little bit over the years. Over the year, he wanted to be a part of this con, but I'm like, I don't have that cash cow anymore. Sorry, man.
Right.
But he's good friends with Walter Day, and after the con, he said, "Dude, this was so fun. I'm so glad to be out here." He was going through some trouble, like with fans thinking he was cheating and stuff. So like he was going through this whole like lawsuit where like he wasn't getting invited to cons, and like he felt like he was kind of ousted from the whole
Who's
community.
canceled? Arcade cancel culture.
Damn.
Holy cow!
That's right.
So when I invited him there and I had him there, I think it like really meant a lot to him. Like, you believe
Sure.
in me, you like that, I'm here, and he had like good experiences while
That's
he was
great.
there. So he said, you know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna put you up for a card, a Walter Day trading card.
Who is Walter Day?
Walter Day is the guy who owned Twin Galaxy Arcades. I think it was in Ohio back in the day. He's the first guy that ever started making, keeping scores, high scores for classic arcades.
It's kind of the gold standard for breaking records or achieving records.
People were videotaping themselves beating records at home and sending them into him, and he would watch it. He'd watch it for 17 hours until they got to that point to make sure
everything was...
Yeah.
He's like the Guinness Book of arcade games.
He was a one-man Guinness book. That's
and
right.
actually, Guinness bought him out. So they now own that.
Did you see how I played that?
It's a great parlay. Hopefully that's
Guinness
something to do
bought
with
him
your-
out. So Guinness said, we want to be in charge of this.
You got it.
And we're going to pay you to not be in charge of it anymore.
You got it. So now Walter Day he's like, I got to do something in my retirement. Started a trading card company. And part of that is like video games and pinballs. And Bill was like, I want you to have a card. And sure enough, I got nominated for a card. I got the card. I've got a little baseball-looking card with my picture on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's something, it's something that you can give to your kids, and it kind of for all the hard work you did, because I know from talking to Jason and stuff. I mean, you don't just spend a month getting this together. You spend a whole year doing this and getting them together.
Half a year. I take 6 months off, and I spend the other 6 months booking it to get it done.
But you're not just doing 2 emails a day, right?
Yeah.
So to get this, it's kind of like, hey, here's acknowledgement from the arcade world or gaming world that I've cemented into the histories of it.
Totally. And I appreciate that.
I think Ryan, they
sure.
see Ryan, they're like, oh, he's not a weirdo either. Because some of these conventions you go,
Sure.
it's real back alley looking kind of scuzzy.
There's some people that hasn't showered in a while.
Some real bizarre dudes. And
Couple
they say,
tweakers, for sure.
But I'm excited for the convention. I can't wait to go.
And you've actually kind of helped him out a little bit of this year.
I've helped him out a little.
So
bit.
a little brotherly help.
Committee. We formed a little committee.
He said, "Who's the smartest, most handsome guy I know? Maybe I can get him to help."
And he said I can't get Walter Day, so I'll take Jason.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so.
Take what you can get.
But having your brother kind of step up and help you, that's obviously pretty cool, right? That's kind of nice to have something to do together, right? Even at an adult age.
Yeah, it's super nice. We did the whole vintage and collectible stores for a couple years, and that was fun. It was just a really good way to just, make money, which was important, but also just kind of like see each other because we live in different cities.
Sure.
So it was
That's
nice.
what I'm saying. Like, me and my brother have nothing in common. Nothing at all. And so we don't have anything that we can join together to build or to make or to even talk about, to be honest with you. So
He used to come over and just drink your beer and swim in your pool, but now he's got a girlfriend.
Now he gets pussy finally.
Now he's just getting a bunch of pussy.
Yeah. He shows up with furniture and puts them in my basement.
Hell yeah. Is that what that huge curio case is? Yeah. I saw this pretty cool.
It was my grandma's, and my dad moved, and he was like, Molly, it was here a week. Molly goes, hey, where'd that come from? I was like, we were gone, and
you snuck it in.
Brought it here, and I go, she goes, oh, your dad's letting you have it. I said, well, we're keeping it here. It's Chad's, but we're keeping it here until he gets a house. And she goes, fuck that.
You'll be keeping it
He's
forever.
not getting back.
Yeah, keep
The storage unit.
But right, yeah, well, he has a storage unit. That's
great.
That's exactly what she said. She had a few beers. She was like, he's got a fucking storage unit. So you can't,
Chad.
You can't put curved glass in a storage
You know
unit.
who has storage units? The poorest people I know. Why do they have them? Why do they keep...
What are you doing? What are you waiting for?
What are you doing with that? I'm going to buy a house one day. I got to store everything in this $400 a month thing that I'm just waiting. And you're never going to afford the house because
if you didn't have that bill...
You'd have the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had a storage unit. I don't want a storage unit. I keep a fairly tight ship and try to keep things out, get them out the door, sell them, get rid of them somehow.
You have a lot of turnover at your house, and I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about furniture as well.
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
Is this what you want? Do you think that's funny? You think that's funny?
Yeah. So
making a joke at my expense about turnover in women. Is that funny to you?
Yes, it's hilarious actually. Look, Mom, no hands. No, it's super cool, and I'm not a video game guy per se, but I'm actually super excited about going to this, just because maybe there's a part of me that like maybe there's a video game kind of like arcade nostalgic thing that maybe I don't remember, because I remember when the mall had the arcade at the mall, and
Aladdin's Castle.
and that's back in the day when kids never got kidnapped or taken away or molested or anything, and so your mom would give you a bunch of quarters and you would just go there until she got done shopping at
Lane
Victoria's. Yeah.
You may have been molested. You probably just don't remember.
You
it.
probably, you blocked it out.
It was very dark in there.
It's
very
hard to
dark.
concentrate on bad dudes and getting molested.
And Pac-Man all at the same time.
A quick rundown. You got probably 45 different vendors. They're all doing different things. They're selling games.
This year, I got 52 vendors.
They're selling crafts, different artwork. It's not just video games. It's a lot of stuff that has to do with that. You got people that dress up for it. You got a beer cart, that's the big selling point for you.
That's the only reason I said I would go.
Logan's Roadhouse. They're making like steak sandwiches and stuff.
Are we going to have Princeton?
No. It's not Logan's Roadhouse. It's Longhorn Steakhouse.
Okay, that's the same exact thing. I could have said Texas Roadhouse.
So much better.
I could have said Outback. It's all the same.
Are they going to have peanuts?
No.
Longhorn Steakhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all the same. How is it not the same?
I don't know. It's a lot better.
And
Their turkey sandwich and their brisket are super good.
Okay, it's Longhorn Steakhouse.
Yep.
And then independent developers, you didn't even mention this yet, the guy who created Rampage.
Yep. The original
Rampage
of Rampage.
Right? You don't know Rampage? They made a movie last year that came out with The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
I've never seen that movie.
Mr. Johnson.
It's a derivative of a video game.
I've only seen Little Rock.
All right. No, it's a very famous game about these big monsters that destroy cities. It was out in the 80s.
Okay.
And he's going to be there.
That's cool.
And then
he also runs Game Refuge Incorporated, which is his business now after he broke away from, what was that, Midway?
I don't know. The Midway was who created Rampage.
Yeah. So once he broke away from them, he started his own company and came out with some pretty good stuff. Is it General Chaos? Is that the name of the
That
other
sounds
game?
right.
Yeah.
And those games will be
At the
the
con.
arcade brought down from Galloping Ghost.
Wow.
So they'll have a section of his games there.
Xenophobe.
Oh, that's a popular one.
Yeah,
Xenophobe.
that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Xenophobe is a game?
Blake Stare.
Blake thinks it's something to do when you fuck a dead person.
Blake Stare.
Helping Can and Blake Stare. Write that down. No, sounds exciting. Now, you're right in the cusp. Everything, you got to tighten up the ship right here at the end. Has it even crossed your mind about what do I do next year? Or like, how do I top this? Or do you wait till it's all over and go, okay, I went too far, or I can do this, make it even bigger?
Yeah, that's what keeps me up at night, man. It's this year actually made a lot of sense because this is like a spot where I can grow.
Sure.
There's this year I chose the biggest building I could find because I wanted to spread out. I don't want people putting their nose up at it's COVID and shit like that.
Sure.
Like, yes, COVID, but if you're not comfortable, don't come. We're wearing masks. We're doing social distancing. That's the point of the big building.
Sure.
And I got a blood bus this year. I gotta throw that out.
A what?
Blood bus.
Filled with blood.
It's a bus filled with blood. No, it's like a blood mobile. You give blood.
Oh, okay. I was like, these arcade people are a bunch of sickos. What would Walter say?
Blood has its own card.
Oh,
It's typo negative. Rob.
so you're doing something. You're kind of giving back a little bit there. That's
Giving blood.
Yep.
Giving blood back. Blood bath.
Yeah.
awesome. Well, congratulations, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to going. Seriously, I do.
I'll be happy to see you there.
You said a beer truck, and I'm there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on
He loves
the
beer.
seatbelt sign.
Join the club.
I don't love it. I just really enjoy how it takes my misery away.
All right.
Have you tried wine? That's a great one too.
I'm not a big wine guy.
I bet you like a Moscato.
I'm
You're
not a
like
big wine guy.
my wine. Remember when Borat said that? Mm-hmm. My wine.
I think he was drinking a Merlot when he said that.
It was. Today we discussed the pilot episode of Naked Jungle from the year of our Lord 2000 plus nothing. Great year.
Great year. 2000. Again,
Prince sang about it.
yeah. Well, he was going to party like it's 1999, but 2000 party overage out of time. But I will always remember, and I've talked about this 100 times, but when it comes to year 2000, that was the year that, speaking of video games and computers, everything wasn't going to work when you woke up in the morning.
Y2K.
Y2K.
I say why not 2K?
Y2K, Trish, the cop,
The dish.
gun,
He used to date a Mountie cop. She was a police officer on a horse, and they had a lot of actual like gunplay in the bedroom. Like stick this gun in my asshole.
I don't know if that's cool or not.
Well, I don't think it was a whole lot of gunplay. It was just one night. I was like, whoa. But no. So I remember that because, I mean, seriously, major corporations.
He bears all.
This was all over. This was all over the news. Is that computers weren't going to work because nobody thought to reset to 0-0.
Yeah,
and that was a huge thing. And
that was a bad plan on their part.
Well,
Whoever's making computers, good job, guys.
we'll all be dead by then. Who gives a shit?
all the video games shut off on But yeah, so and I was supposed to say I was 75, so
24?
I was 25.
Yeah.
You were
I was 12.
you beat me to the punch.
You
were 19.
At midnight, I was 18, but I did turn 19 in 2000. 2000 is the year I graduated from high school. As well.
So you're how much older than him?
Like 5 years.
So are you the little?
5, 6.
Are you? You're not the little one. You're the middle one. Well,
Three or four.
Boy wise, you're the middle one.
Middle boy.
Middle boy.
He's boy wise.
Middle boy. All right.
I will have to say before we get off the 2000 subject, this pilot looked like it was from 1991.
Yes.
It was horrible looking.
Yes.
Just like grainy footage, and honestly, everything I see, like 2000 and before. That's like a British show.
Yeah.
Looks shitty.
They didn't have
10
HD.
years before its time.
Yeah,
They didn't have
sucked.
HD
Is that
over
what it was?
in the UK. They didn't have
It
HD.
sucked over there at that time.
And I don't think you wanted to see this pilot in HD. I don't think you wanted to see crystal clear screen on this.
I was doing a lot of squinting. I don't know.
It was the Naked Jungle, and it's called that because every person in this, every single human being that you saw in this show,
Including the host.
was completely from head to toe naked.
Buck naked as a jaybird.
Now the host was wearing an excellent safari hat.
And depending on the challenges, there were maybe shoes, gloves, helmets, elbow, knee pads.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
When they were naked, other than knee and elbow pads.
Ridiculous. A lot of sounds that sounded like this on the show.
Mostly in the girls when they were running.
Yeah, a lot of that. There's a whole lot of that.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's really put ourselves back in the mind frame. So let's go back to the year 2000 in our minds. And to do so, we'll talk about some things that happened that year. April 2nd, WrestleMania 16 at Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim, California. Triple H beats The Rock, Mick Foley, and The Big Show in a 4-way elimination match for the WWF Heavyweight title.
The Big Show is now in the AEW.
Is it, he wrestles there?
No, he's not wrestling.
What is he doing?
He's like a
Like the announcer? Is he a promoter? Does he?
I would say a promoter.
Is he? Did he like burn a bridge big time with WWE?
I would assume so.
Well, I mean, WWE when COVID first hit, they're like, "Oh my God, every red cent that we make comes through these live shows. We make an insane amount of money through these live shows,
right.
And now there are no live shows, so they dramatically cut their roster. Big Show is knocking on 50's door.
Yeah, he can't walk anymore.
I was going to
barely.
say, he can't really wrestle.
No.
So what? You have to make cuts at WWF. Or do they really like? Are they pissed at him for jumping ship? Though
I still think that there would be. I the way Vince McMahon is, I still think there would be a little irritation to the skin, if I can say so. Mm-hmm. And they just a couple months ago, Sting signed with AEW, and you know
Sting is literally 55,
right? But
right,
and he has a fused back and neck. He can't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But still, it's just those people that were under contract. It just kind of shows. Well, this isn't heel versus face, but
hold on, it could be.
Okay,
let's start. Let's do an episode of heel versus face without. Should we call Kevin?
No,
we shouldn't call.
He's
Kevin?
lifting a table. I'm just saying that even if their wrestlers are past their prime, listen. I'm going to put it in a context you guys can understand.
Thank you.
You got a game console that half the time doesn't work. But it's a vintage game console that you love. You're going to keep it, and you're still going to use it, and you're going to suffer through it not working every time. But then if somebody was to steal that from you, you'd be pissed off. That's what happened. Let's just move along to naked people.
Is that the end of the episode?
Yes.
Heel versus face? Okay.
My buddy Eric has a PS2 that just has a disc of San Andreas stuck into it, so it doesn't come out. So it's just a San Andreas player.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it needs to do.
That's really true.
Are you gonna have any ColecoVisions?
Dude, so here's the thing with Coleco. Like the parts that they used inside, they didn't age well. There's like these little rubber things that like cracked apart and they don't connect anymore. So like 20% or less of them even work. They're just a bad investment. And every single game that came out on those came out on the Atari 2600, and at least a handful of other consoles. So you just don't need that console.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll throw mine away, I guess.
What? I'll take it.
No,
April 14th, Metallica files a lawsuit against P2P sharing phenomenon Napster. This lawsuit eventually leads the movement against file sharing programs. I never was on the Napster tip. I didn't get on. I wish I could have. I feel like everything was available, and I was like, I let it slip through my fingers.
This was back in the day where like you would go and you'd like spend like 2 hours searching files of these songs that you wanted, and then you'd click on them and they'd start downloading, and then you'd go to bed because it was going to be all night, and then you'd get up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got Metallica's Enter Sandman, and then the next morning you're like, downloaded, and then you push play, and it was these 3 guys in a garage doing a cover of
cover.
Enter Sandman, and then you were like,
Was it a good cover?
no,
No.
they were,
And it was also the Wild West too. I mean, in many ways, the internet
it was the
is
Will
still
Smith
the
of
wild.
music.
It's the wild. That's right. It was the Kevin Kline of music. But you could say, oh, you know what I like? I like Metallica's Enter Sandman, and you click on it, and then what you don't know is you're downloading a virus.
No, that's true, too.
It was just the Wild West, where it was just this kind of never-ending field of files, and you could just pick one, and then you cross your fingers and hope that it works and doesn't take too long to download.
Because younger crowd doesn't understand. Like when they go to Apple Music and they find Enter Sandman, there's one of them, and they click it, and that's going to be it. This, you would go to the site and you would type in Metallica, Enter Sandman, and 47 files would come up. You have no fucking idea the quality, if it's the whole song or if it's the, the right band even.
That sounds awful.
Well, you're 12
And then
years. Or
think about this. Not only is you don't know, you're rolling dice with that, but then you have to wait 6 hours to find out.
were you not on Napster ever? You're like
No,
15, 16.
no. I don't think I barely touched a computer. I still hate computers. I don't want to touch them.
But you're doing a convention that involves computers.
No, it's video
Not really.
games.
But it's a computer.
Now, this is actually, this is a subject that people have brought up. I
shit.
personally am a console gamer, always have been a console gamer. I don't want to spend $4,000 on a high-end PC. That's just not, I'm cheap. I'm broke. I'm not going to do that. It will never happen. A console is, especially vintage consoles, $40, $60, whatever. Games are $3 to $6. Great. That's what I want in my life. I don't need the newest stuff. I haven't bought a new console since the 360 came out.
Okay.
And that was used.
Calm down. You win. Jesus.
April 22nd, in a pre-dawn raid, federal agents seized 6-year-old Alien Gonzalez from his relative's home in Miami, Florida. You remember this? You don't remember Alien? Neither of you remember Alien Gonzalez?
No.
Oh my God! Parodied multiple times, I believe, on Saturday Night Live. The at least 1 or 2 jokes in every late night talk show's monologue for months. Alien Gonzalez.
Was he a kid?
I think he was a little Cuban boy who was taken and then put back to Cuba or something.
How many alien stories were happening at that time? I felt like every single tabloid had Madonna's alien baby on it or something.
So I'm saying Alien Gonzalez.
What?
Alien, not alien.
I don't know what you're talking about then.
We're talking about a quote unquote illegal immigrant. I'm not saying aliens.
It sounds pretty
Alien
close.
Gonzalez.
Well, what was so important about him? He's just a little kid. There's a bunch of little Mexican kids in Florida.
It got a ton of press. That was a huge story that year.
They stole him from Mexico?
It was a pre-dawn raid in Miami, Florida. So just before the sun came up.
Oh, that makes a difference.
But I can't believe neither of you remember that.
No.
It's a huge deal.
I was 12.
Who cares about fucking kids?
Well, it's probably poorly worded. With that poorly worded sentence, we are safely and securely back in 2000. Ryan, do you know why did we choose to watch The Naked Jungle? There's 3 reasons that we usually have, but this season of Couch Pilots there's 4 reasons.
Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. It's definitely a pilot. Woo! It's definitely failed. Awesome! It's British. Is that one of it? No.
That's 3 out of 4. What else you got?
One more.
It's subpar.
We love. You know what? To be honest with you, that should be a permanent fourth pillar. This is subpar.
So your 7 rating system, I told Katie that because we watched it together, and she's like, "Is that because none of them are good enough to be 8 or above?" And I was like, "That's a pretty good guess."
That's not why.
I actually don't know why.
Well, we'll talk about that. And I am shamed. I am shamed. No one in my family listens.
That's okay.
I've heard a few.
Where can you find the entire
Because you've
episode?
had him on in the car when Ryan was with you.
I've ever told you that? I'm not gonna say who it was, but I've been in a car before with someone who started playing their own podcast for me.
Really?
It's embarrassing. It was a little embarrassing. I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to do. You can find the entire episode of The Naked Jungle by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, Ryan.
Okay.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff.
We can tell who
I
listens. And who
I don't want to
doesn't.
do this, but I want a fan to do this. And I want a fan to go through all of our episodes where we've had guests and we've asked that question and just mash them all, their answer all together.
Have I been asked that the other times? I've been on
Yes,
the
you,
okay,
you have
okay, I
every time. And the reason you don't know the answer is because you weren't told the answer.
Honestly, I don't remember being
No.
asked the question.
You know what? To be honest with you, it makes it more fun when you don't know the
Absolutely
answer.
does. Summary of the pilot: action-oriented game show for nudists. What do you think, Blake?
I'm giving that a D.
What?
First of all, we don't call them nudists. We call them naturalists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a British term? I don't know. That
Tough
was
to say.
Yeah.
There are a couple of OURs in there, so maybe so. Do you? So would you give it a D?
Yeah, and I think it was very short, and I don't think, what was the first 2 words you said?
Action-oriented.
Yeah, I think they should have said like obstacle course or something.
That would have been closer.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think of like action is a lot different.
Do you want to give it? You don't have to. Do you want to give it a rating though? That summary.
It's a
X.
X. Okay.
you know
Wow.
nice.
Sexy.
It is the naked.
I'm definitely going on the 17th.
So there's. I will give. Oh yeah. Please drink as much of that beer as you want. There's a little backstory I'll give on this pilot. This is one that, as you know, I do all of the. You're the technical side of the show, and then I dig into all the content. And so a lot of times I will come across websites that say, hey, these are failed pilots. I'll make note of them, or I'll hear something, and my brain activates when someone says pilot. And I'll
Because
go,
if you hear something, say something.
Absolutely. So I look into all these. I investigate these. I have a huge list at home of things I still need to investigate, but I have probably 200 or 300 that I've investigated that I just have not been able to find. The Naked Jungle is on that list. There was a time where I heard about it and said, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would love to find it, and I was unable to find it.
Really?
A few weeks ago, when we started, probably 5-6 weeks ago now, by the time this airs, when we started doing the 10-episode season of only game shows, super listener from across the pond, Chris Tuckley, he had sent me a message on Twitter, and he said, hey, you should check this out. Or he said it on, I can't remember if it was Twitter or email, but it was a link to The Naked Jungle. It had since been available to be seen, which is one of the 3 requirements.
As Ryan
Yeah.
said.
As Ryan
I do
nailed.
remember that.
As Ryan totally nailed it. And I was like, you know what? I have 10 game shows already in the hopper. I am taking one of those and I am kicking them out, and I am putting The Naked Jungle in because I knew about it. I was trying to find it. I couldn't. You did. I'm excited.
It's a golden nugget.
Boom.
It's a golden nugget.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we got to watch it.
I don't know the last time that you used the term golden nugget on the show. It's been a while. You remember that song from Stained? They're like, it's been a while.
Oh, I thought you were
remember
the
that?
Golden Nugget. I was like, what?
Yeah, you know that Stain song, Golden Nugget. I'm so depressed. I went to the Golden Nugget on Fremont Street. I got a steak for $3.99.
Interesting facts,
Golden
please.
nugget. Hey, these are facts that Jason looked up. Interesting facts. Ryan, this is really important. I would appreciate your brother has worked almost as hard as you have building a convention. He's worked that hard finding facts about this pilot that you may not know.
6 months of hard work.
Yes. So please don't taint his experience or anybody else's experience by giving your opinion.
I'm just going to shut up.
He's going to give you facts. Just don't give your opinion.
Deal. Can I get facts?
Huh?
Can I give facts?
If you got, you know what? If you've got a fact and he doesn't say it, throw it in his face.
Yeah,
Give a fact, take a fact.
I had somebody ask me to build them one of those tree libraries, the give a book, take a book thing.
Yeah.
And I was looking at plans online. I was like, this is going to cost $3,000 to make.
You have like siding and actual shingles and tar for the roof of it.
Yeah.
Do people use those? I see them. I don't see anybody
Supposedly
using them.
they're a big thing right now.
Okay.
I feel like it's just a thing to say, I don't own a TV.
Or I'm doing something for the community.
I live in a coastal city.
Why don't you put on a fucking arcade convention, asshole? Then you're doing something for the community.
That's absolutely right.
Because there's people getting hotel rooms. There's people spending money on meals at other restaurants around in the community.
We estimated $88,000 in community raised money last year just from the convention.
So
from
it's
people out of town.
It's $100,000 this year.
It could be.
Yes.
Now, does Ryan make some money at the conference?
No.
Well,
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't.
I know how
don't
you
even
feel
know what
now when
money
you
is.
say I kill your bits.
He does it.
Interesting facts. Naked Jungle was a one-off television game show produced for the United Kingdom terrestrial TV station Channel 5 by Granada Television, airing June 6th, 2000.
The day before my mom's birthday.
Just a few days before our brother's 10th birthday.
Ooh.
A game show with an assault course format based on and using the same set as the children's show Jungle Run.
I knew they didn't spend that money on that
No.
set.
It was controversial because the contestants were nudists.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing, and I went to the Wikipedia page,
Okay.
and I saw that. I was like, oh, that makes more
Yeah,
sense.
it makes
Because one of the things we talk about is why didn't this work? And that was the first thing I was going to say. We don't have $1 billion to make mountains for naked people to...
Is this this is the first time you've gone to the Wikipedia page about a pilot, isn't it?
What? Yeah, I did. I
think I'm gonna cry.
I had some facts, but I'm like, yeah, he'll get them.
It is weird that they decided to make a nudist show out of a children's show.
That's even more weird.
It would be funny as if like the children's show was still in production, so these people had their dirty arses all over everything. They'd have kids run through it. Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is, like, some of these adults couldn't even do these courses. How is a 12-year-old going to do it?
It's kind of like the dirty Legends of the Hidden Temple from Nickelodeon. That's what this show is.
This show seemed to me like Legends of the Hidden Temple meets Fraggle Rock.
And a lot of pussy.
And puss.
And huge, or fair to Midland swinging cock meat.
Well, except for the one guy. He was waving.
That's one of my complaints
he was,
later.
He was waving a big old
is
flag.
where are the fucking black guys?
They don't have black people in the UK.
They got a couple.
Just that
not on TV.
Just that fighter guy.
Just the fighter.
He was a champion.
Because it would be like... It'd be like you may as well draw a huge red circle around that guy's cock if they had a black dude standing next to the rest of them.
We can't show this.
That's why you lost your nickname, Third Leg. They had a black guy on the nudist show. It was part of the special season of programs on the channel to mark the 50th anniversary of British naturalism. Boy, oh boy, how do you celebrate 50 years with a bunch of sagging tits? Isn't that what you do on TV?
That's
In a kids' TV show set.
They weren't all saggy.
A bunch of elongated nipples and
Not all of them.
There's plenty of time for comments. A video of Naked Jungle was released by Playback in late 2000. It was rated 15 by the British Board of Film Classification.
Out of?
I don't know.
Age limit, right?
It's probably the age limit
Yeah.
in their country. Yeah. And I think it just got to 15 because of all the pubes.
Yeah, there's a lot of pubes.
This is the most pube-heavy pilot we've watched, I think.
You get a puby bump?
Pube bump. While in Jungle Run, the competitors collected bananas, later monkey statues. In the Naked Jungle, the objective was to obtain fig leaves, a biblical cover for genitalia.
Is it just me, or is that like completely like an oxymoron, or completely wrong for nudists to have like something to cover them up to be the claim to collect them?
I think it was their way of like going, hey, Adam and Eve had fig leaves.
I get it, but it's like almost disrespectful to these people.
What should they be collecting? Like clear discs,
I don't care. That just seemed like an obviously wrong choice to me.
see-through plastic cups. We still want to show it all off. We want the sun to hit our
Big clear dildos,
Oh, good lord!
seashells, coconuts.
Sure.
I get it. The fig leaves, I get it.
Me too.
I get it. It becomes a little redundant if every fucking obstacle is like, collect as many fig leaves as you can. Again. That's fine. Naked Jungle attracted 2 million viewers, then a record for the channel, and 20% of the audience share in its time slot. Since its debut in 1997, Channel 5 had been aiming to attract 5% of the total audience. That's a massive amount
was
of
the
people.
amount?
20%.
Pervs.
So they had a commercial. It was probably like, you want to see a bunch of Johnson bars? Tune in to Channel 5.
We know 20% of you do.
Oh, my God. They're not joking.
Johnson bars and Reese's peanut butter cups
High five that
flapping around.
shit. High five it. I don't ever want to ask twice for a high five again. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Channel 5 stated that it had received 50 phone calls relating to the program.
Just 50.
Evenly split between appreciation and criticism, including a woman who held the program responsible for curing her postnatal depression. Fact.
I think my wife would have said the same thing if she was suffering at the time. She really liked it.
Look at all those uncut cocks. Yeah, I kind of feel better about having this baby. You know the child that I don't love that I had? Kind of love him.
No man in the UK has dental work or circumcised.
That's right. A lot of extra dick meat over there.
Are there no Jewish people over there?
I'm sure there's Jews over there.
They got to be there, right?
There's Jews
Hey,
in
Chris
the UK.
Tuckley, have you ever met a Jewish guy? Let us know.
Oh, I thought you were waiting for him to answer. I was like, that'd be really fucking weird if you did.
Guess who I've got on the line?
The Independent Television Commission, the ITC, declared that it had only received one complaint about the show. This was from a viewer complaining that he could do without Keith Chegwin prancing around, who was the host.
Right.
And I'm about fucking sick to death of his goddamn prancing, too. End of interesting facts.
job. And I didn't realize until today that basically you just copy the Wikipedia page onto your Excel file. That's pretty cool. Like, I mean, you don't do near as much work as I thought because they're all right there. So,
Well, okay, do you want to get into the nuts and bolts of it?
Behind the curtain.
Here's the nuts and bolts of it.
Let's not. We're going to talk enough about nuts.
Yep.
Let's not.
Most of the time, these titles are so obscure that there is not a Wikipedia page. And a lot of the time, there aren't trivia things to be read on the IMDb page. So a lot of times, I am having to kind of scrape and get something together. But this one is, your words, a golden nugget. Because Wikipedia was plentiful with the information. This is one I was very lucky on and didn't really have to bloody my knuckles.
So, like last week's episode with Pat Sajak doing the puzzlers,
Right.
was this guy a host in any more successful shows, or is he just a guy who was willing to get naked and wear that hat?
I think he was the only. He was the only like guy who had any kind of acting credits.
Okay.
And he was the only one that was a nudist.
That's
and
fair.
Like,
Oh, he
was
yeah. He wasn't a nudist.
No, yeah, he was. Why else would he? You wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have not went on national television, buck naked, and not.
Well, I will say this: you might be right, but he didn't. From what I heard, he did not declare that he was one. Is that my last beer? Ooh. You motherfucker! No, take it. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Hey, did you see this?
Drinking 3 fucking. Yes.
Oh, smart move.
Yeah. Classic.
I need this. I people need to start bringing me beers. I bring beers every fucking time.
I have beers
Okay.
upstairs. I don't want her to know because I'm not supposed to drink before my COVID shot.
I hope that answers your question, Ryan.
Which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Twitter responses.
Is that really a prerequisite?
I think it's wrong. I think
Okay.
she's doing me drink.
That's fair.
Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason got some Twitter responses.
No one responded. Let's put 10 minutes on the clock and let's break down There's a lot to break down here. This was
An hour long.
yeah, it was like 56 minutes. I think the show itself was about 52, and then there's some extra stuff at the end. But this is a long one.
Right. Before we start, can I?
That's what she said.
Can I tell you? Hey-ho.
had
Can I tell you a quick story about this?
I would love to hear it.
So last night, my intention was to watch these two pilots. Had a water heater problem, didn't get it fixed. Looked on Libsyn and realized I didn't post any of the last two episodes, the one that was supposed to come out this morning, and so I had to edit and post those. And so by that time, I was like, oh shit. I was like, it's no problem. This isn't like normal. These game shows are 30 minutes a piece. I'll watch them at work. I watched the first one. It was like 22 minutes, right? And I still have never clicked on the link. I have no idea what I'm about to see.
All you know is that it's called Naked Jungle.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that is probably irrelevant.
Probably
So
not a bunch of buttholes.
I have my earbuds in, and I push play, and I start to take notes, and instantly I was like, whoa, I'm at work.
NSFW, baby.
I was like, I don't have time to watch this after work. Whoa. So I spent the whole day sneaking at work, watching every second of this pilot.
You watch it all at work?
I watched it all at work.
I thought you were going to say you got home and did it.
No, I know.
Wow.
Well, I had to watch it in front of my kids. They're like, no, I'm just kidding.
They loved it.
They're like, daddy, daddy.
So we start off, we're on a super shitty looking jungle beach set, and the host is Keith Chegwin, naked. And the intro is a bunch of naked people lying around and forming the word naked jungle.
Yeah, that was weird.
I liked that.
There was some weird music. Like it was like jungly music, but not jungly enough.
Kind of erotic.
It was like erotic jungle music that didn't sound African.
For a naked show, it was literally the only erotic moment in the entire thing.
I have notes about that.
I beg
too.
to differ.
Okay.
Blake really loved the first third of the show. So
I loved it when Helen disappeared.
this says
That was the best.
the show to celebrate the world of naturalism. Now, is it naturalism or is it naturism?
I think it was naturalism.
It's
Is what they call
naturalism.
it.
And then what's the difference between naturalism and nudist? Or like you said, is it Ryan?
That's my
Is it
guess.
like their word for nudism?
Totally my guess. It's like Lyft. Elevator.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Uber. Like when they call it Lyft over there, we call it Uber.
Fag, cigarette.
Yeah.
They don't. No, they don't say that.
They say cunt over there a lot too, and
And they mean it.
It's a compliment over
I
there.
try to say cunt, and nobody appreciates it.
But you know what? If you go to England, it's fine. If you call the woman a cunt over there, she'd be like, "Oh, that's
They
so sweet."
love it.
They
Oh,
love
they eat
it.
that shit
I
up.
would prefer to call a man a cunt. It's a very direct.
Attack on their masculinity.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So we have 5 couples, and they're not all couples, but there's 5 women and 5 men.
Yeah.
I thought there was 4.
There's 5.
Oh, definitely 5.
Yeah, there's definitely 5. And but it says 5 couples. The men are going to verse the men, women are going to verse the women.
Yeah.
But they weren't couples. Only like 2 of them were couples. And so
And one of those wasn't revealed until at the end of the show. I felt like. Am
One
I wrong on that?
No.
One of what?
One of those couples. I didn't
no,
think. Okay, maybe I missed it.
So right off the bat, I wrote this show is just like Big Brother, the challenges from Big Brother, the set wise, except everybody's nude and not attractive.
Everyone. I wouldn't say, and there's a few attractive ladies there in my book, but everybody is naked. It's
Right.
just the 10 contestants and just the host. Those are the only people you see the whole time, and they are all naked.
Yeah, but on Big Brother, like everybody's hot on Big Brother.
I don't watch it. I don't know. I take your word for it.
Well, everybody's hot on Big Brother, and everybody is not hot on Naked Jungle.
Well, that's just how it is in the UK. They don't mind putting ugly people on TV. That's their bread and butter.
So they first introduced the guys.
Who do you have?
Oh, I there's no way.
You got Thomas?
I was at work watching a nudist game show.
Yeah, that's on you, pal.
I couldn't write everything down.
Do you remember who was there?
What their names?
Yeah.
Steve, Tom,
I remember Steve.
Thomas was 24. You got Andy.
Glenn,
Graham, 48. He was the
Oh,
oldest
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And Steve was
Graham.
39. And the guys all run off with Keith. They're meat slapping. It sounded a lot like this. There's a lot of that in the show.
So there's these they used when they're introducing the guys, they use these leaves as like and like in the middle of that leaf it shows the video of each one of the guys and it has their names on it, and they give a little tidbit.
The leaf has like a little icon on the bottom of the screen. You mean,
Yeah,
right?
with their name, and they give a little tidbit about them, and so the guys are going to verse the guys, girls are going to verse the girls. We'll start with the guys. Look, you know what? Let's get those dick slongs out first.
What's the name of the first challenge?
We're going to the Lake of Death.
I think it's the Pool of Death, wasn't it? Or is it Lake?
I wrote Lake of Death twice.
Okay.
Really enjoyed all the names, though. All the different locations.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, Jason's got feelings.
It's all about
What,
location.
I noticed here that a lot of the shots are of like the stomach up. And sometimes you'll get some mid-range shots where they're fully naked, and there's a lot of like long shots from far away too.
Because it's like physical challenges. I think that's why there's long shots. Yeah, for sure.
There was also a handful of like they were trying to zoom in on somebody's face, but there just happened to be a dangling tit in the corner of the shot, but they just had to use it.
They were a lot more loosey goosey with the editing when it came to the women as opposed to the men.
Well, we should note too that Europe is a lot more loosey goosey when it comes to nudity, and obviously. Channel 5, I assume it's a network over there. You can never see that on a network here. Maybe you could have some nudity on a cable channel late night here, but it's very rare.
So we're collecting fig leaves, and we're going through, and it's a physical challenge. And the person with the least, don't worry, you're not going to be taken off yet. Go to the next challenge, which
They're in a pond. There's like a little pond of water, and they have these big, thick lily pads, and then the object is to try to stay on the pad
and grab
paddle
as many fig leaves
and
as
grab
possible.
as many. Yeah,
Like big floaty pads.
yeah, they're pretty thick too. They look unwieldy.
those pads don't have wings.
It's awful. The women are there too. They're cheering them on.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was kind of surprised. Like each set that they go to, these women are all hovered around, and they're all yelling like they have a vested interest. Except only two of them do. Really, they don't. But two women care if their man wins. The rest of them don't because they're not paired. They're not paired up as teams.
They care about the money.
But
Did we even mention
they're
the
not
prize?
But they're not getting any money. The girls are not getting.
At the end of all the guys' challenges, one man will remain, and then all the girls, one woman will remain. It doesn't mean that they're not necessarily each other's partner. They could be two separate from two separate.
They're splitting that money,
and then at the end, you'll try to get a bunch of money, and then I think the money, will probably be split between them. It has nothing to do with their partner. If it happens to be their partner, even better. But that's not always going to be the case.
On the second challenge, it's called the Lost Camp, and you have to gather a bunch of fig leaves that are in chests, not boobs, chests. But you have to find the keys. And again, this is just like Big Brother. This is a Big Brother challenge. Except they have in Big Brother.
If this is what Big Brother is, then Big Brother is stupid.
No, this is what they do.
So here in this challenge of the Lost Camp, we don't have like the water from the pool or lake of death. Here we have just a lot of squatting, just a whole hell of a lot of squatting here.
Too much.
Bending over, searching through things, sorting.
And okay.
A lot of butt shots.
You both said that, so I'm going to say this. By this time, the second challenge, for the most part, I'm already desensitized to the fact that they're naked. I really am.
If they were more attractive, it would take longer to desensitize.
I've seen a lot of ugly naked guys, I guess.
So they're reaching into like green goo.
Billy Mitchell. No, I'm just joking.
They're reaching into like baskets of apples, hay. They're trying to find keys to open up these chests to get some more fig leaves. And then at the end of that, Andy loses.
Yeah,
right?
Andy goes home, and I think it's pretty fair that they give him 2 challenges before they send somebody home.
Yeah, they get a total of the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And I really do like that they're waving goodbye and not hugging him goodbye.
That's good.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hugging.
No, at the end of the first round, Steve got like 0.
Oh,
or
yeah.
like nothing.
And I was like,
he's like, yeah, this guy's going home, right? But
Right.
he booked it. It's so hard. His attitude turned around.
He went to first
so
place.
fast. He got to first place.
Yeah.
And I just knew, I was like, that guy, that's where my money's at
That's
for the
the
rest
hustle.
of this thing.
Yeah.
Now we go to the Chasm of Doom. Doom.
Wasn't the first thing called Lake of Doom? How much fucking doom?
No, it
was
was Lake
there?
of Death.
Oh, okay. Well, now the guys are wearing helmets and only helmets.
I think some of
That'll
them have
do.
some elbow pads on this
Maybe
one.
some padding.
And by the way, I'm just going to give you right off the bat on the Chasm of Doom. It's a rope swing, and you have to go across a rope. What do you call it? A rope net?
Netting.
Anybody that's ever been to Chuck E. Cheese knows that is dangerous to you if you have clothes on. These guys and gals are doing this with no
We
clothes
talking
on.
rug burn?
Big time burn.
I wouldn't even say that. I would be worried about things getting caught in the net. That's a note that I made. Is the net?
Did you write "caught in the net"?
I said imagine getting caught in the net, and then I put space yikes, because that sounds terrifying. You
I
get some nuts been there, man.
I wrote rope swing naked ? Ouch.
I think something did happen, actually.
Oh yeah, there a couple of those guys fell, and there's one guy,
The young guy.
Yeah, Tom. I think Tom.
Was he the youngest guy?
He had the biggest dick.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
he
the
had
one
big-
with the biggest dick, yes.
Big Dick Tom, as he was later known.
Right, he like fell in the middle of it and like slid a little bit. And
Well, he was like really slow. But he still didn't get out that round. But he was like so slow. It's like, what is he doing? Like, is he like not into the game? But Katie turned to me and she's like, did he maybe hurt himself? Like, did he get like a rope burn on his dick? And he's like trying to be cool about it.
I think he hurt himself on the Lake of Death. I think he hurt himself in the first one.
All right, from the
and I
get-go.
thought about that too. I was like, this is the youngest guy with the biggest dick, and he's going the slowest in every single competition.
Definitely wasn't. Yeah, up
he
to
wasn't.
speed.
Yeah, no, for sure. He wasn't spunky.
They go. They went two at a time, and they had to swing over a thing, find some more leaves, swing back, and get to their barrel and put the leaves in the barrel. And only the ones that made it back in the barrel are counted. And then they
Which
go
also
to,
wasn't overly specific. I felt like some of the rules were a little like, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
we had to have missed a lot, because the next challenge is very specific on what you have to do, and us, the audience, did not get any details
Yes.
on what exactly was going to happen, but each contestant seemed to know exactly what they needed to do to proceed. So I feel like we missed a lot of the instructions that thankfully the contestants did get, but we had to watch
I think
them.
a lot of it was like pre-done. Like, hey, this is what it needs to be done. Because when they go into the cave of lost souls,
That's exactly what I was talking about.
If
yeah.
I went in there, I'd be like, okay, what do I do first? Okay,
absolutely.
But they were like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what I do.
That's
So,
exactly
yeah.
what I was just
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, they knew exactly
They
what was
cut for
going on.
time.
So
Glenn's going home after the
cave of the lost souls.
no
The
the chasm
Okay.
chasm of doom. Glenn goes home. They go to the cave of lost souls.
Everything up to this point is let's collect stuff. This is who can do the obstacle course the fastest,
right.
and the slowest goes home.
And in the cave of lost souls, this is where I wrote, Tom is so slow, but has a big dick.
Yeah, we get it.
And he still doesn't lose.
Right. Graham
Dick saved him.
Graham is the one that goes home, and I do believe Graham is the one that wanted to be the gladiator.
Gladiator, yeah.
Graham was 48, and I
Yeah.
think he was looking good for 48.
Oh yeah.
Graham was rocking, man.
He is almost 70 now.
They all had this one. They had elbow pads, knee pads, helmet, and gloves.
Sure.
It's just so funny to see all these accessories, but then like
no underwear.
like your dick is out.
Right. Then we go to the Waterfall of Venus. And on the men's version of this, foreshadow, the girls go through the same courses but do different stuff. The Waterfall of Venus, like me and Jason would go against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to scale this very big waterfall. This was not just like a...
It's a rounded cliff with a pool at the bottom.
Right, and it's deep. I mean, it's far down.
Another
But-
game I don't feel like we got full instructions on.
We did not, but we did find out that hey,
What's the other guy doing?
when Jason's climbing trying to get fig leaves, I have a hose shooting water out, and I can either try to like get fig leaves down on the ground, or I can just keep shooting the guy.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Fucking shoot that guy, right?
There was one shot where the guy was holding it right at hip level. That was just like, yep, that's why this game is on here.
Yeah.
What would so I didn't
It was
make note of
definitely
that.
it was definitely a pun. It
What
was
would
definitely,
each of your
And that was the only dick joke.
What-
Did you realize that?
no, there was two or three like
That's the only one I caught.
think so?
there was two or three dick jokes.
what
Yeah,
would
for
your
sure.
each of your approaches be to that? What would you do with the hose?
I am taking that hose and I'm aiming it at my opponent's head the
Yeah,
whole
that's exactly
time.
what I would have said.
the head.
Yeah, head.
Not you wouldn't try to like
Drown him.
You wouldn't try to like fill up his asshole with water.
No, because his eyes and his mouth. You just want to. You want to get. You want to
breathe. That's
You want to
good.
get it all over his eyes and his mouth.
The first like okay, so the fig leaves are like two big plastic leaves about the size of a dinner plate
On a rope.
and they're connected by like a string or a rope. So I don't know how the vines are hung up when they're climbing that cliff. So I don't know exactly how you'd hose them off necessarily. Maybe it would be easy to do, maybe not. I don't know. But I think the strategy is shoot that hose right in that guy's fucking face.
Right.
Always.
For sure.
And you could. I think it would be fairly easy to do that because the guy's moving slow around the cliff.
I would think, because he's climbing a cliff, basically. And there would be a couple times where
Poorly climbing the cliff.
there would be a couple times where I'd probably let's fill his asshole up, with water.
Sure.
Just in case.
But this is the gayest thing I've ever seen, and I've been
It's
swimming
super
at your
gay.
house before. So
Really, the guy in his underwear, you're telling me it was gay.
hell yeah.
All right, well, don't call me gay.
I'm not calling you gay.
You were in your underwear.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so Tom goes home here. So the slow guy finally goes home. And
Didn't seem disappointed about it. Really seemed like lackluster the entire time.
he really did seem like he was either A, didn't want to do this, or B, he got injured.
Injured quick.
And he got injured quick.
Or very high.
Could have been.
He was a Dane, so.
Naturists usually don't do
They also
drugs.
mentioned him being Danish like 6 times.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
So so Steve wins. The guys are done. Now it's time for the girls. You got Melina, Lynn, who's a dancer, Cindy, Helen, who's 34, Barbara, who's 44, and again, all naturalists, naturists, whatever. They love to be naked, and it looks like the ladies are playing the same games as the guys, like you mentioned. But most of them are just slightly. The first game seems to be the same, but all the rest of them are just slightly different.
A little less
Easier physically, perhaps.
right? Because when they're in the cave of death or doom or lost souls,
Half of them are dumb.
well, they don't. The boards are already in there to cross. The netting's already up.
Yeah.
The only thing they have to do is the ladder.
Put the ladder down and like gather a vine to swing. There's like 4 things in there you had to do, and they only had to do like 2 of them.
Yeah, and I wrote right off the bat. I wrote running, bouncing, boobs. Maybe this was so when the guys were doing it. Again, I'm not looking at a flopping dick. But when the girls are doing this, every time they run somewhere,
Staring at
these saggy boobs are flopping around.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and you can't not see those.
Were you guys also disappointed that the cute, petite brunette girl was
Got
the
busted
first
out.
to leave?
Yep, I was.
And then the only other attractive woman, which was the big
Was the
boobed
dancer-
blonde
was the
girl,
dancer.
was also the second to leave. Then we had to watch the rest of the show
Yes, for sure.
with whatever was left.
My note is Melina is out. No. I will say this: you think Lynn is attractive, then you see you later. It looks like someone hit her in the face with a wooden plank.
But
Barbara she's 44. That girl is a good-looking broad.
Yeah, but also you have to take into consideration in the UK there are no dentists, and so every girl
It's
and every
outlawed.
guy has some nasty ass teeth.
Melina, though, she was the 24, or I think she was 24, whatever. She was a cute girl.
And that was Tom's.
She was with Big Dick, yeah.
that was
Tom
the
Big
one.
Dick.
That was big with Big Dick.
Yeah, she was with Big Dick.
Hashtag Big Dick. I wrote Melina hottest goes home.
So this is what I noticed. So when the guys were up, all the ladies were there cheering on the guys, but with the exception of Steve, he's been eliminated. Steve is like following the women around, but he's not really cheering. Like it's basically just him. And at one point, there's like another dude, but most of the time, it's just like everyone going
they're
to the
all
next
stuck
challenge
where
and
they
then-
lost.
and
Yes.
Oh, they're
yeah.
stuck where they're lost.
Yeah, they stuck
Okay, I
where
did
they
not
lost.
get that.
Yeah, because there's that one where Steve's like sitting on a Jeep, buck naked.
That's the only guy.
Yeah.
He was sitting next to like I can't remember what the other guy's name.
Yeah,
like
but
Glenn or
if
something.
they got knocked out, that's kind of where they stayed.
I didn't realize that's where they.
Which I liked
okay.
that, actually.
Yeah.
That was a weird little
Okay.
aspect. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why they threw it in, but I thought it added something.
I kind of like that too, but it took away from them cheering.
That's true.
You would
Yeah.
think you'd want them all there cheering. I get why they did what they did now that you've clarified it, but you want some people. The guys got cheered by all the ladies.
For sure.
Am I the only one who wanted to see guy girl per competition?
Oh, I
versus
always
all
love guy on
guys?
girl.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I mean, like they did all the guys. Like the first half of the show was just guys, and the second half of the show was all girls.
It would have been so.
And I get it. Like let's
Yes.
make sure the viewer stays for the women part. But like,
You want to see co-ed competition?
no, I just want to see like let's do the guys and then the girls with the same thing.
Right,
And then
the
we'll
Lake
move on
of-
to the next part. Let's
the
not
Lake
repeat.
of Death. The Lake of Death, guys. Then the girls go.
Yes.
Then you go over to Lost
next-
Camp. Yes.
Yeah, I would have liked that better.
That would make sense.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I can dig it.
Okay, but the reason why they probably didn't do that is because they had to set up for the next round.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Um,
What, they
so
have like one day to shoot this thing? Yeah, probably.
you never know. So we go to the Chasm of Doom, where the girls have a lot easier way. They just have to throw spears at a bale of hay that has their color on it.
Yeah, they're up on that bridge,
Uh-huh.
and by the time it's done, it is quite a mess of like wooden spears.
And he walks right into it, and all of a sudden he counts them. But I wrote, and you mentioned this earlier, I wrote, Lynn goes home, hottest body.
Well, she definitely had huge fake tits. Right?
Oh, yeah, she was a dancer.
They said she's been dancing for like 14 years.
Oh, yeah, gotta feed them kids, motherfucker.
Gotta feed
You
them
call
kids.
me motherfucker? Let's see. Then they go to the Cave of Lost Souls, and again, the course has been changed. It's to eliminate a couple of the obstacles.
And this one, there's a lot more running.
And
There's a lot more running on this one.
Helen's the last one to go, and you guys hinted at this earlier, right?
Funniest part of the entire show.
Okay, the cave is like there's kind of a jagged wall, and you have to put wood planks, and you have to walk across the planks, and you set this ladder to go over this different chasm,
And then you gotta
you go to the next place.
rope.
You gotta set up, you got to get the rope and swing over, and then set. So you have all these different like kind of hills and valleys that you have to make your way to the next thing. And Helen does not make one of them.
She disappears.
And these are like rocky looking chasms. It's not like there's like a pillow underneath.
Right.
Like she falls into a fucking mess of like rocks. It's like-
It's so yeah, it seems that way.
And
for
when
sure.
you're watching this, I really think the audio was dubbed in later where they're like, Helen, are you all right? And she goes, yep.
yeah,
as
it
we
totally looked like an after effect.
She went to
Yeah.
the hospital because you never saw her again. She broke her leg, but they don't want to show that.
As we saw it as home viewers, Helen, are you okay? Yep. Moving on.
Yep.
See you later. She's, as far as we know, she's still stuck.
We're
at
not
the
gonna
bottom.
come. We're not gonna come get you.
No.
no.
There's
no.
no
Even the
follow-up?
shot they had was like super, like she was twisted like on top of the ladder at the bottom of the pit.
She had jumped off a 12-story building or something. Yeah.
Listeners, to be honest with you, watching this, it's worth the 50-some minutes just to see Helen fall.
Ooh, I don't know.
Totally.
And I go-
I agree.
I wrote Helen falls and goes home because she didn't complete the course, so she's the one that went home.
So the last
Again, we're
one,
assuming she's not at the bottom of the pit still.
you've got the waterfalls of Venus. This time, the two remaining ladies start at the top of the waterfall. They rappel down, again with a lot of equipment on,
They have like
best. I mean, the second best part of the show.
really highlighting their damn dirty assholes.
they have like wall climbing harnesses
Yes.
on with no,
No
shorts
clothes. Yeah,
or nothing.
It looks so uncomfortable.
So they rappel down the wall. Then they have to go swim across the pond there at the bottom, grab a fig leaf, then go back across the pond, and then
Get
climb
back in
up.
the harness and climb up. And to me, I wrote this. I was like, this is the first one that's harder than the guys. Like, they kind of
maybe
took
so.
it.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one's harder than the guys for sure.
And Cindy wins this one. And so it's Cindy and
Because
Steve.
Barbara couldn't get that harness on.
She definitely had trouble.
Trouble
Looked like
with
She
yeah.
had harness trouble.
Real quick, Cindy looked like right away, she looked like the kind of girl that was real. Like she was the girl who's gonna like tough it out and do this obstacle. She looked like the kind of girl that was gonna be on roller derby, and I would not want to be next to her to get pushed 80
Right.
feet into the wall. That's exactly how I felt the whole time I was looking at her. Like, this girl's got it.
She's a bruiser.
She's a bruiser. That's
This-
exactly right.
This girl doesn't have a washing machine or hot water.
No, that's you.
Oh, I have a washing machine. I just can't use it. Okay, so the two, Steve and
Cindy.
they go to the final round, which is the Temple of the Body.
Yuck.
Horrible idea.
Stop calling it weird shit.
But before they go to the Temple of the Body, they have to do a race.
This is weird. This part was weird, wasn't it?
They have to race
It was
through.
the most hidden temple like, too.
Well, they have to go through every course basically that both teams have went through, and they have to get as many fig leaves as possible because every fig leaf they grab along the way, they get an extra second in the Temple of
No,
Body.
let me ask you this: is it an extra second, or is it just a second? Like
A second.
Like, do they start with a base amount of seconds and they're adding to that, or is the fig leaves represent the entire amount of time they have? In
I
there?
was under there's no because they were only in the Temple of Body. They won 2.5 minutes. They were in there longer than 2.5 minutes.
Okay, I got you.
So if you can imagine two people going through every one of the obstacle courses that you already watched, which is 5.
This is the third time we've seen them go through these.
This
obstacles.
Every
takes
single course, yeah.
forever. And the only thing that you have to guide you is the announcer, and he runs out of stuff to say to where the point where he starts just ridiculing the people and telling them to get going.
For being naked, for being around a lot of naked people, I thought he did a pretty good job.
I think so too.
But I'm just talking about in this part, like he had to fill a lot of time.
A
Like,
lot
he-
of the show was him just filling sound voids and just like talking.
My
like
favorite thing that he would do, and I think it was mainly at that first challenge, the Lake of Death, is at the end. He's like, "All right, everyone, come on over here," and everyone's like waiting to the side, and they're all up, about their waist high. And then Keith, the host, he comes over and like squats down right in front of him with the microphone. I like anytime Keith would like squat to get a position. He was very cheerful about the whole thing, and
his microphone was covered in fig leaves.
That's right, his microphone.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's
Like
right.
that was gonna divert our attention from the fact that his old wrinkly penis with gray pubic hairs was on the screen,
Which was not longer than the pubes.
right. So they gather
Bird egg.
They gather 150 leaves, which gives them an extra 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, they get to the cave part. And it looks like again, this is not something that was explained to us, but they're doing different things, like sticking poles through the wall.
Well, they said puzzles. He said it was filled with puzzles, and
not the final challenge when they were going through the cave to collect the fig leaves. Like she was doing something where she was like sticking a pole through the wall, and he was using it to grab.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was other aspects.
they
to this
changed
that,
it to where two people had to work together.
There was
Yeah,
teamwork
I got
involved.
you. I got you.
That's
Okay.
right.
So we get to the temple of the body, and they have to solve the puzzles. If you get one puzzle, the first puzzle right, you get money. Second puzzle, more. Third puzzle, more. Blah, blah, blah. And he stresses throughout the explanation that you need to grab the money before you go to the next chamber. Guess what doesn't happen at all?
Guess what didn't turn out to be a consequence either.
Exactly. And that's what bothered me and they were yelling at them to make sure
Grab
you
that money?
and they just ignored the guy.
I think they made the wise choice.
No, they did, but to me, if one of the rules is you have to solve the puzzle, then grab the money and take it with you, because they had to take the fig leaves with them as they went through the obstacle course.
So Keith says.
Keith Richards, obviously, from The Strokes.
We have 10 seconds left. You're going to hear a weird noise. And at that point, you should start making your way to the egress, because you're going to want to get that money and get out of there. The Temple of the Body, it looks like a giant Buddha. And when they go in, his belly opens.
Oh my god, that's
Right.
so fucking weird.
And all the previous contestants are there kind of hanging out outside
Except
watching. this.
Helen.
Except Helen, who has a compound fracture. That's right. So they go in there, and the first puzzle is like 3 pictures with their midsections missing, and you had to grab these cubes with pictures on them and try to match it to complete the picture. And it turns out every puzzle is like
all
that,
Yeah.
of them are
which is
cubes.
disappointing.
Everyone had to do with the body and some abstract art, and you had to match
But
it up.
it was always 3 pictures,
Yeah.
putting in 3 cubes the right way.
It was pretty
and then
lame.
once you get that done,
And they were all on the left side. They were all on the same side of the chambers. Like it was obviously a hallway. Like they couldn't put one of the puzzles over on this side of the room. They're all on the same side of the room.
And I really loved when the chamber opened, like the door was just like, it looked like Star Trek back in the day when there's like an extra was like pulling the door open.
oh yeah, just a
from
crew members
behind.
back
Yeah.
there with a rope.
Well, there was a lot of times where like they would solve the puzzle and they thought they had it solved, and they would just stand there and wait to see if it opened. They're like, oh shit, they got it right. We got to open it up.
But it was that. It was 3 pictures, 3 cubes, and then every time a door would open, they go to the next one. They got to the 4th one. They did not complete it. They heard the sound, and then they ran back, grabbed. It looked like a kind of like a shallow wicker basket full of or something. Yeah, and just grabbed, and then they just ran out with all that quid.
They won 3,000 quid,
Yeah,
which is worth about $7 in U.S. currency.
Split between the two of them.
Right.
and that's it. They come out. It's like, yeah, we got naked in front of everyone we've ever met in our entire lives for $1,500.
And there was a couple times I noted this earlier. There was at one
In
point
2000.
Yeah.
at one point at the beginning of the Temple of the Body, the announcer like asks Steve what he does for a living. He's like, "Oh, I'm in marketing." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Why? If you have a real job, And so show's over. Blah blah blah. And I was watching it on my phone at work. And I go, oh, wait, there's way too much time left. Unseen footage.
Awesome.
This was awesome.
This is not something we have ever. This is like a DVD extra,
Yeah,
and
totally.
we've never encountered this. Like, there's so much ground being broken today on Couch Pilots, but we've never seen it before the pilot.
Right. And go ahead.
There's something I didn't notice, but my wife noticed.
Okay.
Old guy, gladiator guy. What was his name?
Is that Graham?
Graham.
Yeah.
In the
Graham?
extras, we noticed that this had to have been filmed. This specific little cut scene had to have been filmed a day before, or at least earlier,
'Cause his
because
pubes are
Graham's pubes were so much longer
Were they-
in
you
this.
guys notice his pubes?
Katie noticed his pubes. She's like,
noticed his pubes.
you know, and earlier I had noticed that he was probably the most
Trimmed up. Yeah.
but he was not in this moment. He was definitely like full-fledged puby.
Anytime you think about like a game show that like a Wheel of Fortune, they're taping like 5 of those a day,
Right.
And they do it for a week straight. And then Pat Sajak goes to the islands for a couple weeks until he has to come
Cayman
back.
Islands?
He goes to the Cayman Islands where all his accounts are. But can you imagine being on a game show and knowing that you have to come back there for a couple different days completely naked?
But
They do like it. Yeah.
Right, and we find that out in the unseen footage. Instead of the announcer introducing everybody and just showing like video footage of him and giving little tidbits, he actually goes through each set and talks to them. You hear the same information. But to me, this like they should have used. I know why they didn't use it because of time, but to me,
Humanized it.
it humanized it and it made you understand that like they were true naturalists and they like it was important to them. You know, by
And that's
talking.
why they were there.
Yeah, except Steve. Steve didn't know how many kids he has.
Yeah. I have
he's-
3. Oh, I mean, I have 4. I have 4
He's like,
kids.
there's a naked girl across from me, and
There's a complete lack of boners.
there.
Complete lack of boners.
I expected a little bit more movement on that front.
I think the only person that showed any kind of movement was the announcer because he had nothing better to do but watch all these, and he's a dirty old man. I think he had a little bit of not like boing, but like a.
I don't know, with Melina there.
Melina
Yeah, she was great.
Melina was good looking. If Melina had Helen's body and Melina's face,
Nope. Just,
okay, all right.
Melina was great.
I love her just the way she is.
Yep.
There's a little extra at the end with the waving of the goodbyes, but not that much. The majority of it was them.
The
getting
guys
to know
waved
them.
two hands.
Yeah, the guys had a helicopter wave going, and that's it. That's the end. Oh my god! You know, sometimes you complain about that going too long, but this one really
You couldn't. You
digging
couldn't-
into this
yeah,
one
you
really
could not
is
do it.
totally worth it.
I'm ready to go to bed, but you could not
Please remain
finish this one.
seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
I know this show. This is the part of the program where we talk about what was wrong, what could be done better, what would you do to improve it, where would you like to see it go if it continued. I know this show is not meant to be this, but this is this show of only naked people, maybe the least sexy thing I've ever witnessed.
100%.
And I've seen like open heart surgeries on YouTube. Before, you know?
I'm gonna kind of differ it. To me, as a 46-year-old man,
Happy birthday, by the way.
that was a month ago.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Appreciate it. But to be honest with you, like again, I go back to the Big Brother thing. Everybody on Big Brother is sexy and hot and, you know, muscles and big tatas and stuff. Like, to be honest with you, it made it more acceptable that these people were just normal. Like, I wasn't gawking at their breasts because I'm not like to me. Okay, this. Let me finish before you say anything. Let me finish the whole thing. I've got a 13-year-old son that keeps getting busted for watching porn, right?
Whisper.
I should make him watch this and go, this is what real women look like. You know what I mean? Like, this is what a real woman, like, your mom looks.
This is what your mom looks like. That'll kill him.
Yeah, start with that.
You know what I mean?
You don't want to. You don't want to see a naked lady that
You
looks
know what I
like
mean,
your
though?
mom.
Like, I'm like, the girls that you're watching in these videos, that's 13% of the whole population. Here's the rest of it. These girls,
Here's what you're getting.
right? And if you get
Eli, this Cindy is going to be baseline for you going forward. All right, either Cindy or Tom. All right,
you'll be
Eli?
lucky to get a Melinda. You'll be lucky to get a Melinda, and it won't last that long.
Melina.
Melina, she's only 24.
You'll get one Melina, and she'll go back to
turn
her
into-
friends and say it's the biggest mistake of her life.
and she'll turn into a Cindy.
And
She
you-
will.
and you're going to jerk off to that for the next 30 years. All right, Eli? What would you do to improve this?
I wouldn't make it as long. It was too long. If you said, well, you have men and women. make that race at the end half. Just it
was
doesn't
too
need
long.
to be that long.
Okay. Or yeah, maybe like
Or don't do it at all. Don't do that race at all. Just say, hey, you have 5 minutes to get through this. Instead of saying, oh, each leaf you get an extra second. Just wipe that all out and say, you got 5 minutes to get through the Buddha Belly.
Buddha Belly. Is this a
Buddha
half,
Belly,
is this a
nothing to fuck
half-hour
with.
show or is this an hour show going
was an hour.
forward?
Oh.
No, I know what
Oh,
it
yeah.
was, but going forward, should this be a 30-minute show or an hour? Because a lot of modern game shows are like the daytime ones, like your Jeopardy.
But these are physical challenge ones, which take longer.
Yeah.
How long was Gladiators? That was an hour.
That was an
wasn't it?
hour.
American Gladiators?
Yeah.
I think it was an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this an hour television show, you think? 45 minutes with commercials?
Yep.
I feel like they were already struggling to get as much footage as they could in.
But I mean, is there a merit in leaving in the talking to the contestants, getting to know them? Do you do
I think so.
2 groups of 3 instead of 2 groups of 5?
Yeah.
I like that better.
yeah, I like that, too.
Or just the women.
Or just women 20 to 31 years old.
Who have had dental work.
Do you want the show to succeed or not?
Right.
You're not getting a season 2, let alone an episode 2 with faces like that, buddy.
But everybody in Europe is like that.
Yeah. Europe is a fucking nightmare when it comes to women, or it has the most attractive women on the planet.
Except Chris Tucker's wife. She's beautiful.
I haven't seen her. I will. I bet that she is.
Chris, we need news.
Jesus.
Well, because we're thinking about starting Naked Jungle 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're casting. Yeah, if we improved it, I don't know. Those would we return to those same games every week? Would they switch it every season?
That's I don't know how the children's game goes, but it's just the same competition every week. But American Gladiators, well, they still had
I think
different.
they cycle. It's
they
like
cycled.
Price is Right. Price is
Yeah.
Right's got like 35 games you can
Yeah,
play, and each
that's
episode
true.
you get
They
6.
could have used the same sets with different games.
All right, that's enough of that.
Well, spear throwing. Hey guys, this time you throw spears, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our
Use
discussion,
guys.
please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Other people have seen The Naked Jungle, not just the 3 of us, obviously. It was very popular, apparently, when it came out. 20% of the population saw it. And people have commented on it. There's a score on IMDb. Do you remember what IMDb stands for, Blake?
Internet Movie Database.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Nice.
Sometimes you expect, like, a funny answer, but sometimes he tells you exactly what it actually is.
I thought it was funnier to get it right. That's what I thought.
It's a 1 out of 10 scale. People from around the world rated Naked Jungle. Ryan, what do you think people rated it? 1 to 10 decimal points in play.
Oh, a good 6.2.
Blake?
6.5.
It's a 5.1, and that's from 45 different ratings. Viewer reviews. Cheggers Naked. And that's the fella that hosted the show. 8 out of 10 scars. This is from January 10th, 2003. So almost 20 years ago at a point. This was a very funny game show with naturalists as the contestants. There were 5 men, 5 women, blah, blah, blah. The worst thing about this was Keith Chegwin presenting the show in the nude. There are quite a few shots of his manhood, if you can call it that. I thought it was a bit of a dead skin. I thought...
Jeez.
That's good.
All I can say is that the studio must have been very cold. Wow. Several jabs at his naked man flesh.
You know, that really brings us back to our last section. Did he need to be naked to make this show work?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't ask a bunch of people to get naked if you yourself can't be
Right.
naked.
Hey, the Jeopardy host isn't answering questions.
He has cancer and is dead.
8 out of 10 scars. Funny little show. This is from Genova Project. This is from July 29, 2006. A lot of people who view this show particularly judge it as a piece of pure, unadulterated trash, unfairly, in my opinion. British game show networks are better known for being original, and I thought the idea of nudists performing tasks based upon a popular children's game show at the time was a decent concept. I don't know if that's exactly what it was based on, but hey, what's this thing?
I think he should have worded that different.
What's this thing that's popular with kids? Let's get a bunch of naked adults to do the same thing.
And the kid that I have tied up in my basement loves it too.
Who'd want to watch an all-adult naked version of Sesame Street, you know? Almost nobody. Blake's eyes, I've never seen them wider.
Can you imagine, like, Elmo crying?
Mr. Snuffleupagus.
I do want to see Bert and
Completely
Ernie
shaved.
in a nude scene. Okay, guys.
I can say I myself do support nudism, not as much as I practice it, however, and the show never particularly tries to be exploitative.
That's true.
It's just a fun one-off show that has a good time with itself. The games themselves are benign, yet the contestants and Chegwin make himself make it enjoyable. Contestants rarely ever perform tasks that relate to nudism. Finding fig leaves, that's pretty much it. Dismiss it as terrible television, but American television has really deemed nudism in a negative light. Surreal life, anyone? And it is refreshing to watch a show that makes it normal and fun to watch.
It did feel surprisingly normal.
Yeah, wash.
They're going to do a big wash to get those kids back in there. Yeah. Hose it down, everyone.
There is a hose. There is a very high-pressure hose.
Yeah. The first 5 minutes, I was just staring at dongs and boobies, but after that, I really got into like the character. Like, Steve, get in there, do it!
Come on.
Grab those leaves!
You lazy bastard. I don't care if you pulled your hamstring. Fucking get done. You got a hot girlfriend. Be a man, for Christ's sake.
He was doing pretty well for himself.
You would.
Boo the Moose says, nasty little piece of voyeurism posing as a game show. Essentially, this was a one-off show. I hope that helped Channel 5 to make the newspapers and get some free publicity. However, this was a nasty voyeuristic piece of trash pretending to be a game show. Even those watching to see naked bodies would have been disappointed.
Well, that last part's true. But no, it was far from voyeurist.
We'll do one quick critic review here. In August 2006, a Radio Times poll called it the worst British television program ever. In 2007, interview with Digital Spy, Chegwin said of Naked Jungle, "It's the worst career move I have made in my entire life. If I could turn back the clock, I would."
That's the host?
He said that due to the program's time slot of 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, he believed it would not have gained as much publicity as it did. Well, it did. And we've never heard of Mr. Chegwin since.
Fair enough.
Chuggity.
He might be popular over there. I have no idea.
The Cube is worse.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF.
The British television show The Cube.
Is worse than this.
Yeah. You gave something else a 0 since then, which was unwarranted. The Cube is the gold standard for garbage.
There's a show that's coming out right now called The Cube.
The Cube was, I think, like late 80s. It was supposed to be like a sketch comedy show, and it starred Hugh Laurie and who's that? Not Stephen Merchant, but Stephen Fry, I believe.
Okay.
And then there's also, who's that woman?
I
Very popular British actress. Just before they were popular, and it was so dry and pretentious. It was awful.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go ahead and Blake, you did such a great job last week. Do you want to explain the scoring system?
Sure.
Ryan was interested in it.
The scoring system is a 1 through 7. It's based on the television show Wings, which is probably one of the greatest television series ever.
It's just one of the greatest
Airport
things
hangar shows.
man has created.
Yeah, yeah. And so what we did was we ranked the characters from Wings, and we based our scoring system on said characters. 1 being the worst, that's a Roy Biggins. And a 7 being the best, that's a Brian Hackett. And there's a Fayetton, Antonio Scarpacci, Helen Chappell, Bob Hackett, which is not right, and Gladys Knight, who ran the counter.
Was she
She was
a 2?
Surrounded by pips. Ryan, listen to me.
If you want to go through,
If you had done a podcast for 6 years, and there were 7 things in the rating system that have not changed and not wavered at all.
Oh no, they have wavered. There was no.
I'm not counting it. I'm not counting it.
There's one waiver,
I'm not counting it.
but
Okay, how about this? 8 things. Before I said 7, I'm going to add one more thing. So almost one thing a year that you have to remember. All the different landmarks of grading the pilot itself. Do you think you would be able to remember that?
No.
One name. Okay. All right. Hey, you know
Okay.
what? Good luck with the conference.
Let's do it again. Number 1 is a Roy Biggins, right? Number 2 is a Fayetton.
Her name is Faye Cochran.
Is that a 2?
You worked with a lady named Faye Yetton.
But that's a 2.
But she was not on
But
Wings.
is that a 2?
Faye Yetton is. Yeah.
Thank you. A 3 is an Antonio Scarpacci.
All right.
A 4 is a Bud Bronsky.
No.
Antonio Scarpacci.
No, that's literally the one you just said. You think Antonio Scarpacci is a 3 and a 4?
Was he the mechanic?
No,
He was the cab driver.
it's Tony Shalhoub.
Okay. I remember the show. I'm trying to keep up.
His name was Lowell.
What? Are you gonna keep going? He had a head of steam. No, you're
And
good?
he just shit on me. It's fine.
I just don't understand how you don't.
All right, Ryan, based on those ratings of 1 through 7, what would you give Naked Jungle?
solid 4.
Okay.
Yeah. On the upper half, but nowhere.
No pun intended, or only pun intended?
I think 4 is right down the middle. 4 is not in the upper half.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you're right. That's a
People
a
always-
5. 5. Though.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it deserves more than average. It was good. I really felt like it was and my wife loved it. She gave it a 7. I said 1 through 7. She said 7.
Thank
I
you
want
for bringing your
more.
wife's score. That's good.
I want more. Yeah.
maybe you should stop playing cons and start taking care of things. If that's give her a 7.
Hey, he's got 2 kids. I don't
Really
know.
good point.
Captain Philip, rest assured, I turn to you. How do you rate Naked Jungle?
I do agree that this wasn't like an exploitation at all. To me, it was a naturalist positive.
It was just fun.
I think it was a little long. Trim it up, 3 contestants each.
You like the trim? You like the word trim?
It's good. Yeah. I'm enjoying it.
He didn't mean it that way.
No, I did. It was a plan that I've worked on all day. Thanks.
Paid off.
I'll give it a 5. It wasn't horrible. We've watched a lot of bad stuff, and to be honest with you, like again, after the first like 3 or 4 minutes of like watching the guys flop around, I didn't notice it. Those girls when they run, that's why we invented bras,
Okay.
and so I'll give it a 5.
I did want to be turned on more than I was by this.
Oh yeah, I wanted to too. But my
went in expecting a boner.
but my main squeeze got knocked out in the first round. So what was I going to do?
Yeah, losing Andy was tough. Me? Yeah, I'm going to rate it as well, it turns out. I didn't love this. This is what I'll say. They didn't sexualize, like you guys said. I'll mirror that and say they weren't sexualizing these people. But there was an element of like, hey, we've got a bunch of fully naked people on TV. In that way, it was exploitive, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't sexual, but it was just saying, wouldn't you like to turn on a TV and see a bunch of naked people? Well, we can do that for you. And we'll just have them jump in this pool or put their fingers in this green goo or spray water in someone's asshole directly. You know? The games were fun, but I don't feel like we got I want someone to really explain to me what's going on. But I don't feel like we got that. We just got weird edited things put together at some points. You got Helen with her compound fracture in her leg. I don't know. Some of it was too repetitive. I guess I don't know what like you guys had mentioned. I didn't even think about this before. Those were like big, expensive sets. Mm-hmm. They didn't look great, but they were big and expensive. But
which were already there.
But they were pre-existing. But if they had to work with what they already had, then I don't know. I got mixed emotions on this. I think I'm gonna give it a 4. Okay. It was fine. It moved along all right. It was a little longer than I wanted it to be. I don't know. I didn't really like it, but it wasn't awful. Yeah. I'm glad I saw it. It was elusive. It was an elusive pilot for me.
I think it was one of those.
This is a golden nugget.
Forgettable British shows that you don't have to really look at when you're watching, and that's what could have made it a good series. Like you're doing the dishes or you're folding the laundry, and it's on. Maybe you see a schlong. It's there. You don't need it to be that good. It just needs to be on.
It's on. See ya, schlong. It's on. See ya, schlong.
It's on. See ya, slong.
It's
on. See ya, slong. It's on. See ya, slong. And some floppy titties.
See ya, schlong.
And some floppy titties.
Is it like your main button?
What'd you say to me? So with the score of a 5, a 5, and a 4, we close the book on the Naked Jungle, and we will never mention that show again.
Yeah.
But join us next time, which will essentially is
next
one of the
week.
same. when we wrap up the game show season with the pilot episode of, it's a reimagining of The Match Game. What?
What's it called? Sorry, right now.
The Match Game. Here's a little something about your whistle. An attempted reboot of the game show classic where two people compete to match fill in the blank phrases with those of celebrities. And you know what I'm gonna say? Hosted by Andy Daly.
Oh, snap diggity. That's good.
You can find the entire episode of
That's
Match
got a daily
Game.
bump already. A daily bump.
I will say this about Andy Daly. He is my favorite comedy Bang Bang guest.
Yeah.
He's better than Paul F. Tompkins. He is. He is better than him.
all right.
Paul F. Tompkins is very good. Andy Daly is the best.
Okay.
He is just the best.
So do you want to agree we're agree right now? Gentleman's handshake. It's a daily bump. You get a daily bump on the next episode.
You know what? I will. We've never done that before. I will agree. Well, I'm going to do an Andy Daly bump on the Match Game.
All right.
Okay. Next, yeah. Whatever we think, we're going to give it a 1 bump point. You won't be here for that, Ryan.
Witness, though.
But you can find the entire episode of Match Game.
We might
by
have to call
subscribing
you.
to the Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice. Then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, and you know what to do too.
Ba-da-boom.
Go to couchpilotspodcast.com. All of our information is there to contact us, watch the or listen to the I mean, I guess you can watch the ticker go, but you should wash the dishes and maybe
Fold the laundry.
what's that saying?
2 in the pink and 1 in the
No,
stink.
see us long. What's that? We were just chanting it.
I think that all day looking at that
Watch
fucking
along.
T-shirt.
See us long. Anyway, that's a way to contact us, or we're on Patreon. You can give us some money to do this show if you want. We'll take it and spend it. And then 910 Pilots 1. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play your dumb voice here on the show. You get to hear what you sound like. 910-745-6871. That's the phone number to call, right? Right at the end of these shows, Blake's been giving us gambling tips because he's a gambling degenerate.
That makes sense.
I don't know if you know about that.
I knew about the bowling.
So, yeah, he's a man of many
Well,
addictions.
I'm hurt now. I can't bowl. I'm hurt.
I, you know what? You said you're gonna feel it tomorrow about me with the bowling. I was like, you're right. I've never left bowling and the next day had like weird pains.
You throw it hard and you throw it wrong. That definitely.
I had the best form there.
Well, I don't know.
What is your tip this week for gambling?
I'm going to tell you. This tip is only for married couples.
Okay.
All right. There's what's so funny about that?
Just can't wait to see where this is going.
That's me every week.
If you both have a old gambling problem, it causes a marital problem if you don't come to an agreement prior to said gambling. Okay, and so you should come to an agreement on the amount of money per person. Mm-hmm. And here is a big thing: don't fucking give her any money when she loses it all. That's what pisses me off. Mm-hmm. Don't offer her money to gamble, and don't give her any when she comes up and goes.
So before you start, have a set amount
And that's
then
it.
just stick
That's
to it.
And it doesn't matter what you have in your pocket. If you have $200 in your pocket or $3 in your pocket, don't give her any.
I'm going to give you this or that situation. Do you both go in there with the same amount of money?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
That was only one part of the question.
Is this her money?
No, it's our
Okay,
money.
okay.
All right, so you both
Well,
go
no,
in
to
there
be
with
honest
the-
with you, I take that back. Most of the time it's my money because I have expendable
A gambling
income.
problem.
I have expendable income.
Okay, so you both go in there with the same amount.
Yes.
Okay.
So when she comes over to you and it's like, I don't know what to do. I ain't got no money left. Don't give her any. Say, well, you
You fucking blew it, you dumb cunt.
go
Go
buy
sit
me
in the corner.
go buy me a fucking beer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how you talk.
Go with a set amount. Whoever and say with a guy. Say with me.
No, I get it.
I'm not going to go over to her and go.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Set amount. That makes sense. It's a good tip.
Yeah.
Ryan, good luck with the convention.
Yes.
Appreciate
very much
it.
And thank you so much for making the trek 2 days in a row to the Peoria area now to do this.
I'm just going to thank you for making it one day because I didn't see you yesterday.
You weren't there yesterday. Yeah, it's been a real treat, fellas. Thank you.
We've never had someone so sarcastically thank us.
I wish we had video because it was he would have looked right at the camera and went,
He's a sassy motherfucker, isn't he?
yeah.
Sass for days. This pilot may have been sassy, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.